A New York Post op-ed warns of the urgent need for guardrails around artificial superintelligence, AI systems that could someday surpass human intelligence in all areas. It asserts that the U.S. faces two AI races, one for commercial dominance and a more existential one toward ASI. While acknowledging economic competition with China, the opinion piece emphasizes that an unregulated sprint to ASI could enable catastrophic threats, from grid collapse to engineered pandemics within the next decade. It urges the Trump administration to lead international diplomatic efforts modeled on Cold War-era treaties, and perhaps even including a Vatican mediator to establish enforceable rules and verification systems to protect humanity. Our next guest is Mark Beall, president of the AI Policy Network, to help us walk through some of this. What a complicated topic. I am so amazed how, the more we talk about it, the less close to an answer we seem to have, because this just continues to evolve into just a ball of wax that is going to be really hard to unpack.
Yeah, this thing is moving at an incredible velocity. And right when people start to get their arms around it, the capabilities change dramatically, and we have a whole new set of issues we have to contend with. It makes it really tough to kind of deal with.
So what specific diplomatic or treaty mechanisms could we propose right now without hindering progress, without hindering the moves that seem to be in place to move forward? How do you balance that act?
Yeah, it's a hard one, but I think what we can do is sort of separate out the commercial issue from the strategic issue. And the United States should be unashamedly driving forward, accelerating our progress, deploying American AI infrastructure around the world, and using our capabilities as an element of national power, imposing our values, encouraging development in ways that are consistent with individual liberty and with freedom. And we should just continue to do that very aggressively and with our partners and allies. But then there's this other level of capability, and that's what you referred to earlier as artificial superintelligence. And so while I'm not suggesting that the United States and China are going to become best friends forever, we'll continue to compete vigorously. But right now, neither Washington nor Beijing can reliably control systems that are vastly smarter than we are. And so we don't want to see a situation in which both countries are racing toward these capabilities without any ability to kind of safeguard them. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here.
I mean, I appreciate that we're moving the conversation more into the realm that's in parallel to nuclear weapons, right? Because this is the development of AI and its capabilities in our lifetimes is like having a nuclear bomb on our hands. It is immensely powerful with the capability to existentially end us. So there are scary elements to it. But as you say, there's some amazing, amazing possibilities that it will help unleash in humanity. So I think what I fear the most about talking about regulating AI is there's always this tendency to over-regulate by people who want to control the most powerful thing in the room. And that's where I think a lot of people will be concerned, that certain people will have access to this while others won't.
I totally agree with that concern. I don't think we want to see a supercharged deep state with incredibly powerful AI tools. And at the same time, we may not want to see an individual corporation with this incredible power as well. Our Constitution, our system of government imposes checks and balances. And if you have a system that's getting born right now that would be incredibly powerful, potentially world-changingly powerful, then we need an urgent national dialogue on how that system should be controlled and made safe and made sure that we benefit the people broadly instead of just going to the hands of a few small individuals.
What do you make of this argument for the neutral moral mediator like the Vatican to actually kind of guide this conversation?
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and it's one the vice president floated in a recent interview with the New York Times. And, the Vatican and Pope Leo, the first American pope, actually chose his name Leo in reference to the fact that his papacy may be dealing with this transformative issue. And it's really interesting to me to note that the Vatican seems to have figured out this issue at a much more quick pace than the United States Congress.
Very interesting. I mean, oh goodness, it'd be so much fun to sit in that room while they're talking about these issues. Another topic I wanted to touch with you is Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene recently admitting that she voted for President Trump's big, beautiful bill without reading this very specific part in it. She discovered a specific part inside the bill that included a 10-year ban on state AI regulation buried deep inside the text. Listen.
I'll state it very clearly. I'm pro-humanity. I am not pro-transhumanity. And when it comes to AI and regulation, when we get to vote on this bill again, I will be voting no because of this clause, and we will be working on this further.
What do you make of her position?
I might have to retract a little bit of what I said about the United States Congress not getting this like the Vatican does, because what Ms. Greene is saying is really, really important. That the United States Congress has been navel-gazing at this issue for the last several years. It doesn't seem that federal action is imminent on this, and then they're now turning around and usurping states' rights pursuant to the 10th Amendment and asking states not to take necessary measures to protect their citizens. And it's interesting to note, too, that not only has sort of MAGA spoken on this, guys like Bannon, the House Freedom Caucus, Congresswoman Greene, and others, but also, some of the more moderates out there, like Senator Blackburn, Senator Ron Johnson, and others. And then on the left, you see AOC and Bernie also kind of coming out kind of against this idea. And so you have a lot of concern out there that's not a partisan concern. It's a bipartisan concern. And I think it's an important conversation to have. Asking states not to do anything for 10 years, that's an eternity in AI life cycles. And who knows what the world will look like in 10 years?
Right.
And while the states, when the federal government wouldn't act to secure the border, the states did. And now when the federal government won't act to secure AI, maybe the states will take a step and try to do stuff to support our people.
I mean, look at the progress just in the past 3 months. I mean, look at how AI has put Hollywood out of business. It is incredible to see this pace. So yeah, 10 years, as you say, is an eternity. But I feel like they are actually on a point. It would be potentially useful to have all these different states kind of tackle this AI policy, because no one entity should or can tackle AI policy. It seems like it would be useful to have different entities kind of play around with the different guardrails, and we can, down a later point, figure out something that works for the national side.
Yeah, this is the sort of genius of our constitutional system and the division of power between states and the federal government. The states can serve as laboratories of democracy, can experiment with different approaches on how best to promote innovation, how best to harness the best part of AI while also protecting against the risks. And, the federal government is not well equipped right now to sort of take action on this. And so I think at this point, it's certainly worth a deeper discussion. I would encourage Congress and the House Freedom Caucus to convene the team and have a discussion about what federal guardrails could look like. And I think, at the end of the day, MAGA has suggested that they want to see guardrails on this. And I think that's probably a very wise position to take.
Yeah, I'm just wary about, who sets those guardrails. I hope it doesn't go overboard. Mark Beall, as always, a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. Thanks. Have a great day.
Coming up, Mel K takes a spin on Headline Roulette. We'll be right back.